Friendship has always been described as one of the most nourishing bonds in a human life. We imagine it as a space of trust, care, and laughter. Yet if we pause to look around today, so many people quietly admit that their friendships feel hollow, transactional, and strangely exhausting. I want to talk about why modern friendships often leave us feeling emotionally bankrupt, even though we are more connected on paper than ever before. There is a paradox that defines our times. Technology has given us the ability to stay in touch constantly. We can text, voice note, react with emojis, send pictures of our lives in real time. But beneath this flurry of communication lies a thinning of emotional depth. Many of us can count hundreds of contacts, followers, or friends online. But when a real crisis comes, we hesitate, unsure who we can call at midnight and actually be heard. That hesitation, that gap between apparent closeness and actual intimacy, is the emotional bankruptcy I'm talking about. One of the reasons for this emptiness lies in the way friendships have become entangled with performance. We are subtly encouraged to perform our lives for our peers, curating ourselves into a version that looks successful, interesting, or worthy of attention. In such a space, friendship becomes less about mutual vulnerability and more about mutual entertainment. We meet not to reveal our truths, but to uphold our images. We share highlights, not struggles. Over time, this lack of authentic disclosure erodes the foundation of intimacy. We are present, but not fully seen. Another factor is the sheer pace of modern life. Friendship, like any relationship, requires time. Time to sit together, to wander in conversation, to witness each other's seasons of change. But our calendars today are jammed with deadlines, responsibilities, side hustles, and obligations. In this race, friendship gets squeezed into a quick coffee, a hurried dinner, or an exchange of memes. These things keep the connection alive superficially, but they do not allow the depth that nourishes us. Without depth, the bond cannot hold the weight of our inner lives, and so people smile together but feel lonely afterwards. There is also the shift in expectations. Many of us unconsciously look at our friends as extensions of our personal support system, measuring them by how much they add value to our ambitions, how convenient they are to our schedules, or how well they keep up with us. This lens makes friendship transactional. I'll invest in you if you meet my needs. When friends stop meeting those expectations, we quietly drift away instead of asking whether the bond itself is worth nurturing beyond convenience. The language of investment and return, borrowed from consumer culture, creeps into our emotional worlds. It turns companionship into a market where only the most useful survive. Social media intensifies this by making us constantly compare. We look at someone else's group of friends, smiling, traveling, celebrating, and we begin to measure our own friendships against that staged perfection. In doing so, we stop appreciating what is real and flawed in our own circles. Instead of working through conflicts or misunderstandings, we assume there are better options elsewhere, more exciting people to know, and so we detach. Modern friendships often lack endurance because we are not taught to sit with discomfort. The moment friction arises, we assume the friendship has expired, rather than seeing it as an invitation to grow together. Another subtle but powerful reason modern friendships feel bankrupt is the erosion of listening. Think of the last time you felt someone truly listened to you, without glancing at their phone, without rushing to insert their story, without trying to fix you immediately. True listening is a form of love, yet in many friendships today, conversations have become competitive monologues, each person waiting for their turn to speak, each story trying to outshine the other. When listening disappears, we no longer feel understood. And when understanding disappears, the friendship becomes a shell. There is also a deeper cultural shift at play. We live in an era that glorifies independence and self-sufficiency. The ideal is to be strong, self-made, always in control. Vulnerability is often seen as weakness, but intimacy cannot exist without vulnerability. If we cannot reveal our fears, insecurities, and doubts to our friends, the relationship never goes beyond the surface. So we end up surrounded by people, but emotionally isolated within our own struggles. We may laugh together, party together, succeed together, but we suffer alone. And suffering alone while being surrounded by people is perhaps the loneliest state of all. This is not to say modern friendships are doomed. There are still friendships today that are profoundly nourishing, where two people create a safe space against the noise of the world. But to cultivate such bonds, we have to resist the tide of modern pressures. We must consciously bring back qualities like patience, consistency, loyalty, and deep attention. These are not glamorous qualities. They don't get likes or shares, but they are the qualities that feed the human soul. One way to restore emotional richness is to reclaim slowness. Friendships need unstructured time, moments that are not optimized for productivity or performance. Sitting together without an agenda, walking without purpose, talking without rushing to conclusions, these create the soil where intimacy grows. Another way is to practice radical honesty in small doses. Sharing something real, even if uncomfortable, breaks the pattern of superficiality. It tells the other person, I trust you enough to show you the parts of me that are messy. And very often, this permission allows the other person to open up too. Intimacy is contagious, but someone has to start. We also need to relearn endurance. Every friendship will face disappointment, misunderstanding, or imbalance at some point. Instead of retreating, we can ask ourselves, can this relationship survive imperfection? Can I forgive? Can I express? Can I stay, even when it feels hard? By staying, we communicate to the other person that they are more than their mistakes, that the bond itself matters. Such endurance is rare today, but it is what makes friendships unshakable. If you find yourself yearning for friendships that feel richer, remember that it begins with you. Offer the qualities you seek. Listen the way you wish to be heard. Share the way you wish others would share with you. Stay when it feels tempting to leave. Vulnerability invites vulnerability. The courage you show in giving depth will often call forth depth in others. And even if it doesn't, you will know that you are building relationships on a foundation that is real. We may not be able to control the culture of our times, but we can choose the culture we create in our friendships. Each act of patience, honesty, endurance, listening, and vulnerability is like a deposit into an emotional bank account. Over time, those deposits grow into a wealth that sustains us through life's storms. In an age of emotional bankruptcy, Choosing to invest in this way is a quiet form of rebellion, and perhaps the most meaningful one. If this reflection resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Let us create a community of people who value depth, authenticity, and connection, so that none of us has to walk this path alone. Together, we can remind each other that while the world rushes toward noise, we still have the power to choose presence, truth, and friendship that truly feeds the soul.